All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are discussing a couple different articles today. We're going to start out with this one right here from Screen Rant. Stranger Things Season 5 can deliver the show's biggest missed setting. And despite all the other holidays pretty much being represented, Stranger Things still hasn't really done a Christmas type episode. And it's apropos that it would come in the fifth and final season. We're going to talk about the fifth season, this Christmas angle. We're going to talk about how Netflix is opening up the checkbook or tipping the piggy bank over, the virtual piggy bank over, as it were, to pay these actors and actresses in Season 5. So here we go. Let's see. Stranger Things Season 5 should be set during Christmas to match the show's style, especially after the spring break and Halloween seasons. And yeah, the show did cover spring break, and that's when Mike and them went to California to see Will and Eleven. So here we go. Let's see. For Stranger Things Season 5 to succeed, Netflix should finally take advantage of the one holiday the show is not yet focused on, Christmas. Stranger Things has always used holidays to the show's advantage. On one hand, this decision serves a practical purpose in terms of plot, as the teenage heroes wouldn't be free to go on such adventures unless each season was set during Halloween-adjacent midterm break, spring break, or the summer holidays. However, on a thematic level, there is another reason that Stranger Things is so obsessed with holidays. The hit Netflix series is filled with 80s nostalgia, from costumes to the endless references to pop culture of the era to the character of the unlikely Stranger Things hero, Steve. A lovable supporting star who turns the stereotypical jocks of the decade's movies into something more sympathetic and complex. While some viewers might be nostalgic for the time they spent in school during the 80s, for most people, the most iconic images from the era are of the sun-soaked summers, overdressed Halloweens, and crucially, glitzy Christmases. And that's one thing that I really enjoy about the show, is the Duffer Brothers and Sean Levy and the set designers and the costume people really paying attention to detail. Having been a child of the 80s, I was born in 1980. I grew up during that decade, so these kids are a little bit older than I was at that age, as they're in middle school in the early part of the 80s, when I was growing up. So and they were, coming into their teenage years, but I remember a lot of this stuff. I mean, hell, there's a G.I. Joe Bible right on my desk right here. There's G.I. Joes and vintage Star Wars everywhere, Masters of the Universe, Ghostbusters. I love this stuff. I really do. And to see, I know a lot of people are getting, tired of the 80s tropes and in the 80s nostalgia. But, I mean, if you look at it through a lens of what would you rather have, I would rather see the decades represented on film before the age of, everybody having a cell phone, because that creates more plot contrivances than the era where communication was limited to actual landlines or face-to-face contact. A lot of the tropes and the sequences and things wouldn't work, and that gives you the scenes with the radios, the ham radio. Communication was much different when we were growing up. So it's very fun to see that represented on screen. Now, back to the point about the holidays, I would love to see a 80s Christmas, that style on the show. Obviously, it would be, a set piece with, a lot bigger things going on behind the scenes. But just to see that portrayed would be really cool in the show that does pay attention to the details.
Details matter.
Stranger Things has used a lot of holidays but ignored Christmas. Each season of Stranger Things centers around a holiday and uses the iconography of that holiday in a subversively dark manner. Stranger Things Season 1 takes the endless summer imagery of unsupervised kids on their bikes exploring their small hometown and turned into something more mysterious and scary. In Season 2, a chintzy Hawkins Halloween became the site of all too real bloodshed and brutality. While in Season 3, the 4th of July fireworks provided cover for the Mind Flayer's attack. Unlike the Goldbergs, whose 80s nostalgia is earnest and sweet, Stranger Things is aware that the decade had a dark side and uses iconography of these holidays to affirm this idea.
The Xmas season.
However, Stranger Things has not touched the most obvious holiday of all so far, and the series has already reached its final season. Stranger Things has never done a season set at Christmas, even though the 80s gave viewers festive classics like Die Hard, Gremlins, A Christmas Story, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It makes perfect sense. They left Scrooged off that list, which I feel personally attacked. It makes perfect sense for Stranger Things to set its final season over the holidays, since after a 5-year gap, Christmas would be one of the few times the entire sprawling cast would all be likely to return home to Hawkins at the same time. Meanwhile, the Stranger Things villain Vecna already ended season 4 by raining creepy upside-down tainted snow on Hawkins. And what a scene that was at the end of season 4 with the kids looking out over the town with the cracks in the earth and the smoke and the flames. It was a wonderful image, really well done, and really leaves me excited moving into season 5. Why Stranger Things 5 needs to use Christmas. Christmas fits the 80s nostalgia of Stranger Things, and the theoretically wholesome holiday would provide the show with an ideal, familiar image of small-town sweetness to subvert. See, this is the thing about the writing in Stranger Things, is the subversive writing has been, to the attributes of the show, not the detriments of it, which is nice for once to see subversion used in a manner in which not meant to offend or piss the audience off purposely. Stranger Things has survived on taking the idealized image of the 80s seen in popular culture and populating it with slug monsters, mind flayers, and grisly gore. Stranger Things Season 5 can take this approach further than ever before by staging Vecna's final showdown against Eleven over Christmas, which would also allow the show to celebrate the found family that the characters have formed over the years. Stranger Things Season 5 needs to embrace the best holiday setting that the series has ignored so far. And who wouldn't want to see a Steve and Dustin Christmas, right? Like, I think that's something that everybody wants to see.
Of course we would.
Let's go over here to Sci-Fi Wire. This article came out on January 10th. We're going to check this out. It says, Stranger Things, Netflix flips the piggy bank upside down for the final season's cast salaries. With so many stars, the streamer could spend $78 million or more to reunite the gang. And here's a good picture of the cast right here. Gaten Metzaro and Joe Keery, Steve Harrington. These two have a wonderful dynamic. And Gaten and Joseph Quinn, Eddie Munson's character, were phenomenal together last season. The Master of Puppets scene with Metallica on top of his trailer was fucking awesome. Absolutely loved it. Erica has been a wonderful addition to the show's cast as well. Lucas's younger sister, as has Robin, who's actually the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. So this article says Netflix may be turning the piggy bank completely upside down to assure the full Stranger Things acting ensemble makes it back to Hawkins for the smash Supernatural series' 5th and final season. Newly reported salary negotiations reveal the show may be spending upwards of $78 million just to return all the mainstay cast members this summer as production on Stranger Things Season 5 ramps up. According to industry tracking outlet Puck News, Netflix has struck mind-flaying new agreements with every one of the main actors who've been with Stranger Things since the show's freaky beginnings, as well as Max Mayfield actor Sadie Sink and Robin Buckley actor Maya Hawke, who we just mentioned. And Sadie Sink was mentioned. We talked about it the other night during Marvel Monday on Going in Raw, episode 236. You can go catch the playback. Sadie Sink has been looked at for a Marvel role as Songbird, which, very obscure character. Don't really know much about Songbird, but all I can say is, big ups to Sadie Sink if she gets that kind of role. Hopefully she doesn't, become typecast if she joins the MCU after this show. It's easy to get typecast after being in a show like this and never really regain that level of success that you achieved at such a young age as actors mature. But fingers crossed for her. Hopefully she moves on to bigger and better things than the MCU. She was already in The Whale with Brendan Fraser, which I've heard good things about that, and it's probably a movie I'll check out eventually. Via the report, the payout plan assigns each of the series actors a salary tier ranging from 1 to 4, with Tier 1 commanding the most lucrative and high-value moolah.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Grown-up stars Winona Ryder and David Harbour sit atop the highest tier, which earns the duo each a reported $9.5 million per episode for their involvement in Stranger Things Season 5, which is a huge step up from the $2.8 million each star earned for the show's third season. So you can see the pay bump there, but it's very popular and has maintained its popularity for a long time. So this fifth and final season going to earn them a big payout in addition to the rest of the cast. Coming close behind them are the kids from Tier 2, including Dungeons & Dragons addicts Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike, Gaten Metzaro, Dustin, Caleb McLaughlin, Lucas, and Noah Schnapp. Will Byers, Sink in the original quartet reportedly will each earn a one-year payout of just over $7 million for closing out the series. And Sadie Sink, of course, we talked about her the other day, being rumored to be in the running for a role in Marvel. Songbird, rather, unknown character.
Songbird, knock him back.
Just beneath a gaggle of long-timers who basically grown up with the show, are the older teen regulars in the Tier 3 salary range, which reportedly commands just over $6 million per episode. This includes Natalia Dyer, who plays Nancy Wheeler, Charlie Heaton, Jonathan Byers, and Joe Keery, the sneaky brave Steve Harrington, who's dynamic with Dustin, like I said, in Season 3, one of my absolute favorites. In Season 3 edition, Maya Hawke, who we mentioned, the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. Tier 4 salaries for the show's fifth season reportedly included other regular cast members not named above and will compensate each of them at a rate much less than those at the top three tiers. Not specifically named among any of the reported tiers is a whole bevy of Stranger Things stars who played crucial and memorable roles over the years, including Matthew Modine, Paul Reiser, Brett Gelman, and Season 2 joiner Priya Ferguson, who plays Erica Sinclair Lucas's bossy little sister, who was an absolute gem with Steve and Dustin's character in Season 3. Each of whom may or may not be included in the lowest rung of the reported four-tier payout ladder.
It was leg right at the bottom.
If you've noticed one name missing from the vast constellation of eye-popping numbers, it's no illusion. Stranger Things pretty much doesn't exist without telepathic teenage test subject 11, played by Millie Bobby Brown. Her reported salary structure resides in a separate and valuable overall deal with Netflix that Brown, who also stars in the Enola Holmes films as well as the platform's upcoming Russo brothers directed science fiction movie The Electric State, already has in place with the streamer. According to Slash Film, Brown earned a cool $10 million for her starring role opposite Henry Cavill just for last year's Enola Holmes movie sequel alone. So she's definitely in an earning league of her own at Netflix. And she has recently, I think it was like a year or so ago, she turned 18. And we did a video about how she kind of lashed out at the industry for their treatment of her just between the day before and the day she turned 18, on how Hollywood, how everybody around her went from treating her as a child to treating her like a object, basically, as a female. I say this as somebody who absolutely detests male feminists because they're the biggest snakes and weasels and pieces of shit there are. Millie Bobby Brown was absolutely right in what she said, because we know how Hollywood treats adolescent actors and actresses and what they go through because Hollywood is a disgusting place. So I hope this cast has been spared that, and their parents are actually good people who, kind of kept them away from that side of the business, which is almost impossible. But Millie spoke out about it in an article that we covered here, and she was absolutely right, and good on her for speaking out about it, and I hope she gets paid because she deserves it. Of course, there's a veil of secrecy surrounding how the series will end in the wake of last season's seemingly untoppable showdown with Vecna, played by Jamie Campbell Bower, in the Upside Down. But the series creators, the Duffer Brothers, recently hinted that Stranger Things won't stray far from its Steven Spielberg-inspired 1980s roots, with Ross Duffer framing Stranger Things 5 as a culmination of all seasons and teasing a series finale with the tone of Season 1, but also the epic scale of the much pricier effects-driven action of Season 4. Hopefully, he said, it's got a little bit of everything.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
So I guess my final thoughts on this would be, open up the wallet, pay your cast, send them home happy, because they're in turn going to come back with outstanding performances, hopefully, and send the audience, the paying customers, the folks that have been invested in the show for however long you've been invested in it. Like I said, I'm new here. Hi. I've been aware of the show, but just never watched it until now. So, and it's really good. It's enjoyable. The characters are good. The production values are wonderful. I've enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do the go-home season for it. So now it's your turn, folks. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. If, like I said, you want us to keep covering the Stranger Things stuff, because we'll keep covering the Stranger Things stuff leading into the go-home season, because it's something that's positive, and we enjoy talking about it here. And, yeah, and I'm going to get Tony to watch it, and I'm going to watch Breaking Bad, so we can talk about that a little bit, too. So there you go. Subscribe if you're not already. Ding the bell for notifications. 2 options to join. $2.99 is a Kazooian. $4.99 is a Harvey Wakuian producer. If not, just subscribe. It's free. It always will be. Over 1,300 videos and live streams in the back catalog, reviews, whatever you want. We've got it here. I'm Meatapple Kuian at the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of you. If I don't see you, have a great day, pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all day.
This doesn't bode well.
You're lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.